or where you see the outcome of black children who still have not yet fallen in love with themselves?
Ooh, Lord, I need some bourbon on the stage now. You said you were going to give me something too, and all I have up here is water in my pocketbook. So, you know, that's such an important question. I actually want to go, of course I am. I'm going to answer your question, but I'm going to say what I want to say first.
That's right, do it, sister.
So, you know, when you think about what you just said, I really do think that this is the most radical power of the 1619 Project. As you know, the 1619 Project isn't creating new history.
Right.
It's based on decades and decades of scholarship. What it did do, though, is popularize that history for a regular common reader.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? Someone who's not necessarily reading dense history books, someone who's not taking history courses at a collegiate institution, but just a regular person who needs to understand this history because we've all been collectively lied to.
That's right.
Right? We've all been taught the history of a country that has never existed.
That's right.
And that history does not explain our society.
That's good.
Learning that history actually renders us incapable of understanding how do we go from the first black president to a white nationalist? How after everything that we've seen, right, can the election be neck and neck right now? The history of 1776 of American exceptionalism does not explain that. But if you teach a more accurate history that lays at the foundation slavery and anti-blackness, then all of a sudden things start to make sense of how we got here. And so I think what has led people to attack the project so much is that we try to fundamentally reorient who we consider the heroes of the American project, right? To actually say, you guys call those men the founders because they wrote the ideas, but who actually manifested those ideas?
Absolutely.
Who actually had to fight against their own countrymen and countrywomen to make this country a democracy?
Absolutely.
That is the work of black folks.
Absolutely.
And even us thinking about the Declaration as a liberty document, that comes from black folks.
Absolutely.
So black folks read those words, we hold these truths to be self-evident, and they say, you can't say those words and keep us in chains.
That's right. That's right.
They call out that hypocrisy.
That's right.
And they say, actually, the America that this document commands is an America that ends slavery. And they fight, of course, right? So we're taught, who are we taught are the abolitionists, not black folks.
That's right. That's right.
But how? How can you imagine that it's not the people who were enslaved who begin abolition, but it's the people who introduced slavery who begin abolition?
Isn't that crazy?
It doesn't make sense, right? So what we're trying to do is really say the greatest democratizing force in this country has been black folks.
That's right.
Period.
That's right.
And that when we say who our founders are, we're actually denying that the true founders were not the men who, because of our labor, who because of our intellect, who because of our belief in universal humanity, right, were able to write those words, but the people who are willing to actually die in this country to make them true for all people. And I think that's what we have to do when we think about the American project. And that's what made it so dangerous.
That's right.
Is to recenter the universe around the orbit of black Americans who have always had the most expansive vision of what this country could be, of what freedom looks like. I mean, you think about how you're taught about the civil rights movement. We're taught that that's a black rights movement. The civil rights movement is a democracy movement.
That's right.
It is not just for black folks.
That's right.
There's not a single law passed out of the struggle of black resistance that only helped black folks. If you read the laws, they end discrimination against people based on their nationality, based on their race, based on their gender, based on their disability status. When gay Americans go to the Supreme Court and they argue that they have a constitutional right to marry, they use the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment, which comes out of the Colored People's Convention.
That's right. That's right.
We are the ones that put universal equality into the law. And then that is where everyone gains their right to sue and say that we have to be treated equally.
That's right.
But we don't get the credit for that.
That's right.
So it's very problematic to be a black child. I mean, I talk about this in the preface to the book. Being a black child and believing that you come from people who have accomplished nothing. Believing that your people did not do anything to shape the country that we built. We know that we picked cotton. So they only won. They treat that as if we were just brute laborers.
That's right.
As if we did not have intellect, as if we were not inventing things, as if we were not writing things, as if we were not creating culture on top of the wealth that we were creating. But bigger than that, a true vision for humanity. And so that absence, again, then is shaping.
Absolutely.
So I remember, when you're a kid, you think that your teachers are going to teach you what's most important, that your textbooks are going to talk about what's most important. Then when you go to a museum, they're going to show you the people who are most important, right? And you don't see nobody like you.
Right.
And so what that tells you is your people haven't done anything important.
That's right.
Because if they had, surely, it wouldn't just be 5 people during Black History Month.
That's right.
That surely I would be all throughout this history book.
That's right.
That streets would be named after Black folks. That when I went to a museum, they would talk about what Black people have contributed. And so that absence is shaping your perception that we really haven't done much.
Right.
And then you start to believe what the society tells you about yourself.
Absolutely.
And that is so harmful. When you are white in this society, I don't think you can understand how harmful it is to grow up in a society and never see any vision of yourself as a people who have accomplished anything of worth.
Unbelievable.
So you internalize white supremacy.
Yeah.
We start to believe the things they say about us. Because we don't have, we feel in our gut it's kind of not right, but we don't have the data to push back.
That's right.
We can't list, well, actually we invented this, and this. Actually, we were the ones who fought for democracy. Actually, when you talk about the greatest generation, and we all know what image, right? It's Saving Private Ryan. Okay, but Private Ryan was fighting in a Jim Crow military. Black folks were going and freeing and liberating white people abroad, and then coming home, and Private Ryan was lynching them for wearing a uniform.
Right.
That's the truth.
That's the truth. Absolutely.
Right? Medgar Evers was a World War II veteran who was assassinated by a white World War II veteran. You have to tell that whole story. And once you start to tell that story, then your self-concept changes.
That's right.
And you see this, we know this. I mean, this is why they ban our history. They ban our history because Black history, by definition, is political.
That's right.
Because Black people, by definition, are political, right? Our history is political because every story of American greatness, every story of American exceptionalism you want to tell, here we are off to the corner. Say, how do you explain us?
That's right.
If all this is true, why are we here? If all this is true, how do you explain how you suppressed our rights for 350 years? How you bought and sold our ancestors? How you claim to be democratizing Europe, but denying violently democracy for Black people here. So we're the most inconvenient people to the story of American exceptionalism. So they want to ban our history because we give lie, right? We reveal the lie of this country.
Right.
And we are heroes of that story. So what the research shows is that when you teach Black children Black history, they do better academically.
Absolutely.
This is not shocking.
That's right. It's right.
Right? If you see yourself in the story, then you have a powerful sense of who you are.
Sure.
And I know, this is why they ban our history, because once I got a little taste of Black history, I became incorrigible as a student. I was challenging everything, right? I would go up in social studies like, where are we? Why aren't you talking about this? What about this, right? And so all of a sudden, you don't just accept the narrative that they give you, and you start to challenge it. And you start to have an understanding. So because of this class I took at 15 years old with a Black educator named Mr. Ray Dow, where he introduced me to Before the Mayflower by Lerone Bennett, and the year 1619, I became the child who would go on to create 1619 Project.
Wow.
If I don't get that class, I don't create this project.
That's right.
And so they want to ban the class because they don't want more of us.
That's right.
They don't want more Dr. Blacks. They don't want more Nikole Hannah Joneses. They don't want people who can help our children know that there is nothing wrong with Black folks. There's something wrong with our country.
That's right.